Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Join us as we help explain exactly what having a solid financial plan means, as Jake draws from years of experience in helping hundreds of individuals get financially organized and focused on their goals. We hope you find Upticks educational, entertaining, and shareable. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to the show. This is episode 230, What to Look For in an Advisor. Cory, one of my favorite topics today, what to look for in a financial wealth advisor. I'll go over what the difference is with those. But before we dive in, do you have any fun topics to share with our audience?
You know, there's really not anything too fun or exciting. I think it's, we've certainly enjoyed, Einstein just made his little cameo. That's good to see, as usual. But
He heard you.
Yeah, no, you know, Jake, you and I, of course, in our office just had a 3-day weekend with Dr. Martin Luther King Day being a holiday where the markets closed. So it had some great weather, got to play a lot of paddle outside. So that has certainly been nice. One of my favorite things to do this time of year. How about you?
Yeah, much of the same. I'm reading another book now. I'm still reading that Brick that I talked about last week. But I'm also reading a book that was actually referred to me by one of my coaches, not a golf coach. She's actually a leadership coach, but her husband is reading this book called Extraordinary Golf. Which is really fascinating, actually. I'm only probably 1 or 2 chapters in, but it's talking more about the mental side of golf. And I think it's pretty comical how a lot of golfers are really hard on themselves and are somewhat pessimistic. So the beginning is kind of like looking at what opportunity there is and not being this pessimistic golfer. So I thought it's a pretty good book, pretty entertaining, easy read. So I'll probably crank that one out before I finish the Brick. I do have a confession to make, Cory. Last week when you were talking about severance, I thought you were talking about Succession. And I'm not sure, and I haven't watched either, but I'm not sure if Rachel's watched Severance. She told me I would like Succession. Have you seen Succession?
No.
No, me neither. So, but that's about it. That's about it for us. I've been watching just random stuff on Netflix, but nothing too crazy. Again, it's the winter months. This is the time of year that I put my head down and work a lot so that I can play a lot of golf in the spring and the summer. So it's been good. We've been busy meeting with our clients, signing up new clients. And so that's been a lot of fun. Quick announcement to our clients. We are moving offices. Never a dull moment at Falcon Wealth Advisors. We are moving offices effective April 1st. We will be staying in the same building, the 1900 building, but we will be moving to Suite 210. Currently, we're in Suite 310. So we'll be on the main level, which will be easier access for our clients. And it's over twice the amount of square footage, which will allow for our team as we continue to add team members. So it was an offer too good to pass up, Cory. So we jumped on it. And so that'll be exciting to show off to our clients and our new clients alike. So very excited, but it's an easy move. We just got to go downstairs in there. So that'll be fun to do.
Here's my turn for a quick confession, Jake. You just mentioned that, which we are very excited about it. Last week, when you asked me that question, you said, is there anything new and exciting going on in your life, Cory? That's the first thing that I thought about, but I didn't want to expose the grand reveal on your show, Jake.
Well, that would have been fine. It's our show. I'm the host, but it's our show. Yeah. And that would have been fine. But again, I want to tell clients about it. It's obviously, we're recording this in January. So it's several months. Literally, that's not a big deal for clients. They just go to the main level instead of upstairs. Other than that, there shouldn't be much interruptions at all there. Okay, good. And again, thank you all for tuning in. If you're not already subscribed on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform, I would highly encourage you to do so. That's the best way that you don't miss an episode of Upticks. Also, if you think our content's any good, a thumbs up, a 5-star rating would be greatly appreciated. I think that's how the algorithms get this out to more people. And again, our mission here with Upticks is to enhance your financial literacy and explain exactly what your financial plan means to you. And today is a fun topic for us, Cory, because we do obviously like talking about our industry quite a bit. And we really want to just talk about what to look for in an advisor. When you're hiring a wealth advisor or a financial advisor, what do you look for? Now, real quick, I want to just define that, and then we'll get right into the topics here, Cory. But you hear a lot of this stuff. You hear investment advisor, financial advisor, wealth advisor, advisor, coach. I mean, there's all these different names for our profession, Cory, and I don't know why they haven't standardized it, but basically they all kind of mean the same thing. So there's not like this formal classification of one versus the other. We call ourselves wealth advisors. I don't know why. Maybe that's because of some former training that we went into that allowed us to maybe work with some high net worth individuals. But for whatever reason, that's what we call ourselves. But I don't want people to think that financial advisors are bad and wealth advisors are good, or vice versa. It's really just titles that people are using. Do you have any comments on that before? It's confusing to the consumer.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if and when that does get standardized. But you're right, it does cause a lot of confusion, but I think you've given a good explanation.
Yeah, so an advisor with money, there's other things you need to look for. Don't worry as much about the title. We like wealth advisor because not everybody calls themselves a wealth advisor, so it makes us a little bit different. But in the end, there's actually, you got to peel back some layers to really find out what that is. So Cory, why don't you kick us off with our first thing to look for in a financial advisor or an advisor?
Yeah, so I think the first thing to highlight here, Jake, is the importance of working with a fiduciary advisor. And a fiduciary relationship involves two parties, a fiduciary and a client. And a fiduciary is committed to putting the client's needs in front of their own. And it's really considered the highest standard of care under the law, at least in the world that, Jake, that you and I work in. So, really to simplify it, a fiduciary advisor is someone who is obligated to put the client's interest ahead of their own.
Right. So that's key here. It's a simple question you would ask when you're interviewing an advisor. Are you a fiduciary? Now, the different piece of that would be insurance agent or also a broker. I'm not saying that insurance agents or brokers are bad. They just have different standards that they must follow. So a broker follows what's called a suitability standard. So that doesn't necessarily mean they need to act in your best interest. Whatever product they sell you just needs to be suitable. And an insurance agent is simply that. They're selling insurance on behalf of a carrier, again, another product. But again, not a bad thing, but they are not really required to act in your best interest. So for us, being fiduciaries to our clients is very important. We want to act in their best interest with all of their assets. And so a quick box you can check, again, look up what a fiduciary advisor is if you want the formal definition. But if you're interviewing advisors, you just want to ask them. In my opinion, that is table stakes now. I think that's just kind of out there. And some other bigger firms have done a great job of advertising what this means. And that's just what it is. Another quick side note, Cory, before I go into the second bulletin, I also would encourage anyone interviewing an advisor to go to Broker Check. You literally can Google Broker Check, and it's through the SEC or FINRA. And basically, you could type in my name, type in Jake Falcon, and you can find me in there, and you can look up my background, and it'll basically tell you every firm that I've ever worked for. And most importantly, it'll tell you if I have any disclosures on my record. And disclosures are basically customer complaints or things that may have been something that had to have a formal sit down to go over. Now, I'm not saying an advisor, if they have a disclosure, is bad, but if you see a pattern of disclosures, Cory, to me, that would be a red flag of like, hey, maybe this advisor isn't lined up with what I value. So again, look for that fiduciary and then go to Broker Check. Type in Cory's name, right? Anyone that's licensed has a Broker Check out there, and it'll show you their background, where they've worked, and if they've had any what are called disclosures on their record. Very important in there. And again, I'm not saying just because somebody had a disclosure 10 years ago, it makes them a bad person, but you want to be aware of who you're working with. Did I miss anything on that fiduciary?
Nope. I think the intention there is just to eliminate as many conflicts of interest as possible. And again, I think most consumers would expect if they're hiring someone to manage their money that person's going to act in their best interest. And I think, Jake, you and I certainly agree with that, and our clients do as well. And that is why we operate as fiduciaries for our clients, and why we choose to operate the way that we do.
Right, but it's important. Not everybody is a fiduciary, and again, it doesn't make them bad people. But when I go buy a car, Cory, I know that salesman is probably trying to make more money off of me, and they're not going to necessarily act in my best interest. And you just have to be aware of that. It doesn't make car salesmen bad. They're trying to make money. I'm trying to get a deal. And in the end, we're both trying to get me a car. So, another way to think about this is like a suit salesman. A suit salesman would just try to sell you whatever suit they make the most commission on. But if they were acting as a fiduciary, then they would be required to tell you if it looks good on you or not, right? So that's the way as a suit salesman's like, hey, buy this suit, Cory, looks great, right? But if they're not being honest or transparent there, so that's kind of the thought about a fiduciary. Again, what's in your best interest? I think that's very important.
Did you mean to talk about a suit salesman when you talked about the suitability standard, or was that a coincidence?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I think I just heard that. Somebody else has used that before. And so I use that as an example. Good one, though. Okay, so our second point that we wanted to make today, though, is you want to ask about their service structure. And at Falcon Wealth Advisors, we work very hard to standardize the service and customize the advice. And I've been thinking about this actually a lot lately, Cory. And in my opinion, you don't want to work with an advisor who doesn't have some set standard of service, because that can mean one of two things. One, if they're customizing their service offering for every client, then that probably means they don't have very many clients, which to me is a red flag, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But two, if they don't set that standard, they're also probably very disorganized, and you don't really know what you're going to get. So with our clients, we have a very regimented service model that we follow. There's certain things that we do for our clients, and there's certain things that we do not do. And the idea is that we want to provide a consistent experience from a service level for our clients so that they know when they sign up with Falcon Wealth Advisors what they can expect and what's being delivered across all of the clientele. I think that's very important. Now, I don't want that to be confused, though. We're still offering a very custom, personalized relationship when it comes to the advice, but our standards of service have to be set, because it'd be like you going to a steakhouse, Cory, and asking them if they could sell you a suit, right? Well, the steakhouse doesn't sell suits, Cory. They sell steaks, or they cook dinner, right, or lunch or whatever. And so again, we want to be very clear about what services we offer and standardize that so our clients can get a consistent offering. Did I miss anything there? But I think it's very important that clients understand that.
Nope, I don't think you missed anything there, Jake.
Yeah, and when you start customizing the service, Cory, what we've experienced is that's when you start opening up yourself for mistakes, and it's not good actually for the client. So, for example, we don't print off those big thick books anymore that we used to do. We just don't do it. The technology has gotten better where it just makes more sense for us to update it real time in front of our clients versus printing off those books. And occasionally, if the client wanted us to do that while we were transitioning, it would just open it up for errors, and it wouldn't be as good. And now the advice actually is much better, because now we're updating their financial plan in real time versus walking into a meeting with a thick book of dated information. So that's just an example of why we don't do certain things. It's not necessarily always to make us more efficient. It's really to make us more effective with our clients. And that's really why we want to set the standard. But I would encourage you, if you're shopping for an advisor, what is your service model? What can I expect, Cory, when I sign up to work with you and your firm? All right, good. So I'll let you go into the third one, right? So clear and transparent fees, Cory, what does that mean?
It means you understand what you're paying and what you're getting. I think to really boil it down simply, outside of the financial services world, I think that most people understand how much they pay for goods and for services, and they really make a choice and a decision around whether or not that's valuable to them. The same thing should hold true in the world of financial services. And I think in our business, Jake, and in our industry for that matter, there's been so much complexity over the last several decades around, well, just starting with titles, right? You talked earlier about financial advisor, wealth advisor, financial planner, so on and so forth. There's also a plethora of different ways that advisors can be compensated for what they do for clients. And it's really important for individuals to understand what model they're operating in the advisor that they're working with, and how the costs that they're paying are reported to them. And we believe in the costs being transparent, being clear, and ultimately being as economically possible, as economically viable for everyone involved. But I think it's really important for people to understand what it is that they're paying, to understand how they can find out what it is that they're paying, so there's no questions around it, and also so people don't have to worry about, am I paying any hidden fees or anything that's not transparent? if I were a client, I would want to know exactly what it is that I'm paying. I would want to know how I am billed, and I would want to know where I could find that information. And that seems obvious to me, but again, that's not the way that our entire industry operates, and it's not the way a lot of advisors operate.
I agree, Cory. It's a huge problem that Wall Street has created. That it should be that simple. I know what my electrical bill is, right? I know what I pay when I go to the dentist or what my insurance pays. You get all that, right? And it's transparent. And for some reason, Wall Street has muddied the waters, in our opinion. So at Falcon Wealth Advisors, we actually post our costs on our website. So you can literally go to falconwealthadvisors.com under the services tab. You can see what it costs to work with us. And then it's very clearly on their statement that they receive from our custodian, and we bill quarterly. So 4 times a year, you can look at the respective statement and see what that is. And because we don't use products at Falcon Wealth Advisors, that's the only thing that our clients are paying, what is reported on their statement. Again, if we were using a product, then they need to go find out what that product fee is and figure out the math on that. And that's where things start to get a little cloudy. And so you're right, Cory, it should be that simple. It's not. So we make everything in our best effort to make it clear and simple for our clients. And we're not the cheapest advisors out there, and we're not the most expensive. We think we are charging an appropriate amount for the value that we bring to our clients' lives. But we're transparent about it, which is most important. Right. So there's always going to be somebody probably cheaper. There's always going to be somebody more expensive. But we work really hard on delivering value each and every day for our clients. And we think we enhance their lives, and we think we're worth it. But we also don't hide about what that cost is. If an advisor ever tells you something's free, run. If they ever tell you if they can't be transparent about their cost, run. Because there are advisors, we're not the only ones doing this. There are advisors out there that are transparent. I think all advisors, Cory, should display their costs on their website. Why not? What are you hiding from?
I don't know.
Just put it out there. It's just what you charge. I mean, again, when you go and buy anything else, you know what you are paying for. And I don't think financial services should be any different. It doesn't make any sense to do it that way. Good. All right. So I've got the list over here. So I think another big one here when you're shopping for an advisor is ask them what type of clients do they work for. As our industry has grown, more and more advisors are developing niches, and I think it's very cool to know that many of our clients come from the same background or same demographic or have the same needs and financial questions that many of our current clients have already gone through. And I think that provides a lot of our clients, new clients, comfort knowing, hey, Jake and Cory have worked with people at my company, so they understand my 401k and my pension, my health insurance. They already get all that stuff. So I think that's great. Now, certainly we have capabilities to work with clients in a variety of backgrounds. I don't want to discount that, but I think if you're working with a client that has a certain specialization or a niche, then I think that can be a tremendous opportunity for you to get more value. For example, Cory, and I could be wrong here, but maybe you do, but I don't work with any dentists, right? And do you?
No.
Right. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't, but wouldn't a dentist be better served perhaps by going to a financial advisor that works with a dozen dentists, right? Or 100 dentists? And again, not to say that you and I couldn't figure it out, but in many circumstances, it makes sense for a client to go work somewhere where they work with people like them, right? So we work with a ton of clients that come from publicly traded companies. We work with a ton of clients that are considered high earners. So they make $500,000, $1 million a year, right? So that's really our two niches. What you say is either, people that have worked in corporate America for 20, 30, 40 years, whether that's at a public company or not, or people that are business owners or make high income. And so they have unique challenges with those high salaries and helping manage it. I'd say that's probably our two niches are where most of our clients fall into. Did I miss something there?
No, I don't. Well, the only thing I would add, Jake, and you alluded to this at least, is again, retirement planning, right, is an area of, is a big focus of ours in the clients that we work with, and helping people make the decisions around Social Security and Medicare and managing required distributions and Roth conversions and everything else that's involved. But again, because Jake, you and I work with people that are in at least similar situations and circumstances, even though it's going to be different from person to person. The reality is any client that we're working with to help them begin planning for their retirement, it's certainly not the first time that we've worked with someone to help them plan for their retirement.
Yeah, good point. Thank you, Cory. That's the obvious one, but you're right. Both of us are chartered retirement planning counselors. So we've actually taken the time to study what does it mean for Social Security and Medicare, and how does it impact a financial plan, or what does a 401k, an IRA, or Roth IRA, or brokerage accounts have to do, right? So we deal with those complexities on a daily basis. And you're right, helping someone set up, plan for retirement, and make a successful transition, that's key. That's very critical to what we do, because you're right, we do have some younger clients, but most of our clients are either in their high earnings years and preparing for retirement, or they're already at retirement and making that transition. So that's a very good point. Thank you for bringing that up. We've got two more here in here. So the next one is a willing to collaborate with other financial professionals. Cory, maybe you should talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so a willingness to collaborate with other professionals and play nice, frankly, is an advisor who is working with someone's CPA or their accountant, or an advisor who's working with someone's estate planning attorney. Because I do think that, if the relationship between all of the professionals that someone is working with, is a healthy one, it's a good one. If those professionals are in communication with each other, I believe that that is what contributes to, the optimal client experience where the most value can be added. And the idea is, we do tax planning at Falcon Wealth Advisors. We have a tax planning software that we utilize, but we're not giving tax advice. Our intention is not to replace anyone's accountant, but if we can be proactive in planning for someone's tax situation and we can share those findings with their accountant, the reality is it just makes it that much more smooth for the client and for all of the professionals involved. The same thing goes for estate planning.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, so I don't like to use this analogy, but it's a good one. You can think of us as the quarterback in the relationship. So since we are the ones establishing, updating, and tweaking a financial plan, it's obvious for us to be in that unique position to work with somebody's CPA, or to work with their estate planning attorney on a will or a trust, or to work with their mortgage broker, or to work with their health insurance agent, right? So we're not shy about bringing in other professionals or referring clients to other professionals where we don't serve that requirement, right? So we're not going to file your taxes. That's not what we do. And we're not going to claim to be tax advisors. And we are not attorneys. We're not going to create a will or a trust for you, right? And we're not mortgage brokers. We're not going to be able to get you a mortgage, but we certainly will work with those professionals. We'll let them do what they're good at so that we can do what we're good at, which is taking all of that information and building it into a well thought out financial plan and help quarterback that process. But I think it's critical. Most advisors will say, yeah, I'll work with your other professional. But I think what's unique about Falcon Wealth Advisors is that we have built long-lasting relationships with other professionals that we have no financial incentive to refer that business to. And so, we don't have a relationship with our estate planning attorney that we typically refer clients to. So we're not officially endorsing he or she, but we know these people, we trust these people. And so we can refer our clients to them and know that, hey, we're not getting a kickback. We just know they do a good job, or they've done a good job in the past for clients that have worked with them. So I think that's important, to work with an advisor that is well connected in the community. And you and I have worked very hard on that for many years of doing that. In fact, we have a network that we could refer, clients potentially in other parts of the state. I have a client, Cory, in Florida. They don't have state taxes. It's like, why don't you work with a CPA that I know in Kansas City? I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, especially you live in Florida, you don't have any state taxes to worry about. So, and they're like, oh, we can do it. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as the CPA is comfortable, I don't mind providing you with the name of someone that I know that could probably do some work for you, right? And so we're happy to be that connector and for clients to ask us. So we encourage our clients, hey, if you're looking for somebody, maybe we know someone that can help you. We even know a retirement coach, Cory, that can help with the psychological piece of it, which I don't think a lot of advisors have that type of connection. So again, there's a lot of network that you and I have cultivated over many years of working together, and just being in the community, involved in the industry. So that's good. Okay, good. And then the last piece, again, I would encourage you to ask your advisor, but let's give a quick rundown, a quick summary. So again, make sure they're a fiduciary. Obviously, this is table stakes. And go to Broker Check out their background. Number two, find out what their service model is. Do they have some sort of standard that they follow? That way, you know you're working with a well-oiled machine, and you're not going to get just some random, is my advisor going to call me? Are they not? Do I ever hear from them? When do I hear from them? Like, what service model do they have in place? Have they been clear and transparent with their fee structure? What am I paying and what am I getting for that fee? Do they have experience working with other people like me, or am I the first type of client that they've ever met with like this? And then do they have a willingness to collaborate with other professionals? And do they have a solid network of professionals that I potentially could tap into? Pretty good, right?
It is pretty good.
All right. So to wrap it up, Cory, I want to talk about 3 things that make Falcon Wealth Advisors unique in the marketplace. And number 1, Cory, would be probably that we take an ensemble approach to our client relationships, right? And so we have a team of 15 professionals. Now, what's also a little bit unique is that, so you have a group, right, that consists of you and 2 financial planners, and I have a group that currently consists of 2 financial planners and myself. But so clients will either work with your group or with my group. And then after that, there's a supporting cast of team members in our operations and our investment management groups that serve all the clients. But what's really neat about it, Cory, is that when a client chooses to work with Falcon Wealth Advisors, they are literally getting access to everybody, and it's not siloed out. Now, again, I typically don't meet with your clients. It's not that I won't, though, or can't. And you typically don't meet with mine, but we're open to that, and we're obviously available for that. But really, when it gets with your group and my group, that's where a lot of the custom advice is going, and that's why we like to have a personal relationship. But then after that, our clients are working with everybody, right? So they're not just working with Samantha; they're also working with Samantha, Abby, Mark, right, Maddie, and Mari, all the people, Alyssa, all the people in the operations group, right? And in the investment group, they're not just working with Connor; they're working with Connor, Abby, and Matthew. So it's great is that our clients are really getting this whole team of professionals all looking out as fiduciaries for their best interest. What about our second unique, Cory, and that we don't use products? I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about this earlier, but again, that is unique for Falcon Wealth Advisors from a lot of other advisors, is that we don't use investment products like mutual funds or exchange traded funds or annuities. We go direct to the market. We buy individual stocks and bonds for our clients. For select clients, we have options trading strategies. But the idea is, by us not using any investment products, one, it helps, again, to manage costs, which we highlighted earlier. And it also gives everyone transparency into what it is that you own. And then, lastly, and arguably most importantly, Jake, it gives us control over how the money is actually invested for our clients. Because we're the ones that have the individual relationships. We have the familiarity with their financial plans and what clients are, ultimately aiming to achieve and to accomplish. So the idea of the dollars being invested to support that is really useful, as opposed to outsourcing the asset management to someone that frankly just doesn't know the client and doesn't understand the situation. And we can't really speak to the investment decisions that they're making. That's why we ultimately don't use products. We go direct to the market and invest for our clients.
Good. Yeah, very good. So those are 2. And then the third thing I think is kind of just rolls it all together is that we value responsiveness. My clients always joke with me that it's like, wow, Jake, why are you emailing back on Saturday or Sunday? And I can't help myself, Cory. If I'm on my phone checking email and I can reply to a client, I do it. And Rachel gives me a little bit of a hard time about this. So I've been working on being intentional about when I'm checking email with clients. But the bottom line is, it's just simply because I care. I care about my clients and we're responsive to them. I like getting responses, right, from other professionals that I work for. And so that's why we provide that to our clients. Now, what's kind of fun that we're rolling out for 2023 is our commitment to our clients is that if they email service@falconwealthadvisors.com, they should and will expect a response within 24 hours. And in fact, if you're a client of Falcon Wealth Advisors and you don't get a response in 24 hours, I want you to call us out on it. And one of our team members will take you to lunch. So lunch will be on us for dropping the ball there. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get an answer, right? Because if you have some crazy question that involves us calling a custodian or doing some research, that may take more than 24 hours. But what I'm saying, Cory, is that our clients can expect to get a response from us. Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Client, we have heard you. we understand your question, or we might have some follow-up for you, and we're on it, right? So that's kind of awesome that I don't think, sadly, Cory, in today's society, people are getting, and we want to provide that unique service to our clients. Any thoughts on that?
Nope, it's really good. We're excited to roll it out again for clients. And like you've said, Jake, it's a commitment to responsiveness. And I, as a professional myself, I certainly know how much I value and appreciate when other people are responsive with me. And that is what we want to provide as an experience for the clients that choose to work with us.
Right, because we can't control the market, right? Nope. We can't control clients' behavior, but we can control what we do. And if we are responsive, to us, that's another value add. It's like saying, hey, because how many times, Cory, have you heard, I never hear from my advisor, or I email them or call them and they don't call me back for days, or even people's CPAs don't call them back, right? CPAs always use this excuse, well, it's tax time, leave me alone, don't bother me, blah, blah, blah. I was like, wow, well, these people are relying on you for some pretty important information, and for you to be unresponsive to them, I think it's a little bit ridiculous. It bothers me, right? And so we don't use that as an excuse, right? And we don't want to be like everybody else. And so I think when you add up all those three things, that's truly what makes Falcon Wealth Advisors unique, is that clients can expect a collaborative team working for them. We don't use any products, right? So it's very transparent and clean, and we have a lot of control. And then you can expect a response within 24 hours from our team. And I think, to me, that's what makes us different, and that's what makes worth hiring us as your wealth advisors.
You sold me, Jake. Where do I sign? I'm just kidding.
Well, good, Cory. You're already a client, and you're my business partner, so good.
Yes, I am.
Well, good. Well, thank you. This was a very in-depth episode, but again, it's a subject that you and I are passionate about. But we want to educate people, right? Because I think if somebody just slaps financial advisor next to their name, they have no experience, no track record, you don't know what's going on with them. I think you need to dig into that a little bit, right? And it's just some of the things in there. Obviously, another one that we didn't talk about, Cory, but that I think should be included are designations, right? We've got chartered retirement planning counselors, or both you and I have that designation. We've got certified financial planners on our team. We have a chartered financial analyst. We've got a CPA. So again, making sure those have those designations and that background check, it all goes into that. But this episode could be 3 hours long, and I don't want to make it that long. But I think hopefully, if you're a client of Falcon Wealth Advisors, what you got out of this is you know more about who you're working with. And if you're not a client of Falcon Wealth Advisors and you want to learn more, simply send me an email at jake@falconwealthadvisors.com, or you can email Cory at falconwealthadvisors.com. That's CORY. And both of us are happy to set up an initial consultation to go over your financial plan and explain more what you can expect out of working with Falcon Wealth Advisors. Good. Cory, is there anything else as we wrap up?
Nope. Great job.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, as always, Cory, for joining me. Thank all of you for joining us. This does wrap up some of the content that we were looking to create here. So be sure to not miss another episode of Upticks. We are going to start bringing guests back on the show. So it's an exciting feature that I'm excited, Cory, to launch. So we'll be bringing more people of our team, more outside professionals, more people in general will be joining Upticks, hopefully in the near future. But thank you again, and we hope all of you have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, falconwealthadvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.